Hello. All right. Hi. Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by the guidelines. Facebook is, YouTube is the man. Give me rules. All right. So I have a couple heads that I'm painting. Right now I'm doing a little more trimming on them because I went ahead and I kind of gave them a little bit of a base out with too much flash on them. That's okay.
Facebook or YouTube?
I'm on YouTube Live.
There you are.
Currently, it says no one is watching. But if you found me, that means someone is watching.
Three are watching.
So here's another one. That's an orc. This is like a bat creature. And all these are going to go to my monster museum. So I will be finishing them with plaques. I won't do the plaques tonight, but I will do, the painting, the herring, and putting the eyes in. Eye placement. So.
Here they come. Scott Colehart says hello.
Hey, Scott.
Hello, good evening. Howdy, howdy. Heads and plaques, love it.
Yeah.
Yo. Hi, everybody. You want to say hello?
Well, I was unthorough in my base coat. You can see a little bit of flesh. Well, not flesh, but latex color under his eyebrow. You guys probably see we're working on lots of orders for Trans World. Lots of masks are poured up. It's not necessarily a wear bat, but yes, kind of. There are 2 different bat heads that I'm doing this go round. One of them I will do as a Nosferatu, which is a Nosferatu, but not without the U on it. It's from the Witcher series, so I thought I would do a couple from there, and one is a Brexus, and one is a Nosferatu, and this is the Brexus one, because they turn into more bat-like creatures, and the Nosferatu is more of a race of bat creatures that can turn into humans from the Witcher series. And this is another orc, because you need an orc. If you'll notice, I'm wearing one of my shirts that you guys can read, because this shirt is printed backwards, which is kind of weird. But Stacey Hawkins made these for me, and I think they're awesome. But often when I go live, it's kind of, I'll go live right now, so I don't plan it. I knew I was going to go live tonight, so I wore my shirt.
Lots of hellos. Ezekiel says hello all. Happy Easter.
Ezekiel, for the record, I'm only on because you told me to go live. Said I had monsters to make on that one post. He says, go live. So, yes, I'm painting right now, but I'm prepping to do the eyes in these. So I am actually cutting out the latex that's in there and a little bit of the foam.
Michael Lester says everyone needs an orc.
Yeah, you know what? The world does need an orc. Everybody. And this orc, man, I've made this into so many things. He's been a vampire. He's been a gargoyle. He's been a werewolf. Just one of those good basic monster heads. How's y'all's angle? You okay angle-wise? You're probably a little far away. I should probably get you a little closer.
3rd degree of terror says nice centaur.
Why, thank you.
Scott Colehart says, are you going to be teaching at MHC this year?
I will be teaching at MHC. Right now I forgot what my classes are, but surely I'll have those guys. I give them a whole list of classes, so they pick their what they like. I think I gave them 6 or 7 this go round, and they picked 3. I do enjoy teaching.
Hello from Scotland.
Hello, Scotland.
Scott Cooper says he loves your work.
Why, thank you. It's very kind. You'll probably hear my wife speaking in the background. She is looking at comments for me and reading those while I get to make the monsters.
Hello. Good evening, Alan. Are you going to be at Texas Frightmare this year?
I have a project that will put me out of town during that time. That is one of the dangers of when Frightmare is, which is a horror convention that is held near us. There's always a chance that it gets pushed back. If it gets pushed back, then I may be there, because Dark Hour will have a presence there for sure. And when you pour up a mask, you know, it has the eyes in it. So you have to trim those normally. But I didn't want these trimmed. I don't want them trimmed like regular eyes.
Do you sell your work?
Of course I do. I sell my work. I have a company called Stiltby Studios, and you can find it at stiltbystudios.com. We don't have a lot of stuff on there for sale right now because we just finished a big trade show, and I have a lot of orders to fill from the trade show. So, yes, I sell my work. I will be at MHC, Midwest Haunters Convention in Chicago during the month of June, right? Is it June?
MHC is June.
MHC is in June in Chicago, so yeah, I'll be selling there. I'm going to go ahead and give these guys a dry brush.
Question: is the Centaur destined for the Monster Museum or Dark Hour?
I installed the Centaur this morning at the Monster Museum. Okay.
Hey Alan, my good friend's daughter wants to go to a special effects school after graduation in 2 years. Where should she look at?
I've heard good things about Tom Savini's, and in Orlando, I worked for a while at the Joe Blasco Makeup Center in Orlando, where they teach special effects makeup. They also have a Joe Blasco in California. I've also heard really good things about Complexions in Canada. Or you could take that $7,000 and just buy a bunch of materials and teach yourself. But you have to be the kind of person who can make yourself get better at something. Not the kind of person who would get stuck in a rut. I have a white mask paint that I have put down a little bit, and I'm just giving this a white. I'm going to do this as a pale creature, like a gray, but I still want things to pop a little bit, so I am just giving it a dry brush.
I will pass this along. She loves Face Off and wants to make monsters. Monsters. Much appreciated.
Nothing is wrong with making monsters for a living. I think there's a lot of monster making work. I know this is going to get a certain amount of hair, so that's one of the things I'm considering while I'm giving this a base coat. How detailed is this base coat? How much work am I going to do on top of it? Thinking about all that stuff.
Where are these heads going to go?
These are going to the Monster Museum. All of these are going to go to the Monster Museum.
There's some talk about going to NHC.
And what I am trying to do right now is I don't want any brush marks in my dry brush layer. Brush marks mean you can see the direction that I went. So I'm just going over it. Just making sure I don't have it.
I may have missed this. What did you use to fill the masks? The Home Depot post mix?
No, because I filled these guys in the mold, these were done with an AB flexible casting foam. Polytech F5, which is a 5-pound foam. It's an AB mix that I get from Biddy Mold Supply. We just do it right in the mold. And it's possible down the road later on, if I'm at a point where everything is drying and I have no work to do, that I will foam one up. So I might do that live in front of you. And if I don't do it tonight, I'll certainly do a little video on it. Because it is a worthwhile product and technique.
Do you still have your Monster Museum at Scarborough Fair?
I do. That's what all these props are for.
You were there today.
These 3 heads. I was down at the museum today working.
And sword fighting.
And I got to sword fight a little bit, yes. You'll see, I don't start right in the middle of the face when I'm dry brushing. I'm not sure of how much is on my brush, so that's why I start, you know, somewhere off to the side.
Are you going to be doing anything in Minnesota?
I don't think I have anything in Minnesota on my schedule right now. Closest I'll get is I'll be doing some training in, what's the state, Stillwell and
Indiana.
Brett's in Indiana. I'll be in Indiana. But that's mostly actor training.
You're going to be in Indiana, North Carolina.
Yeah.
There'll be many places. This Maryland.
That's right. Yeah, we're training a new place in Maryland that I've never been to.
You got a Warhammer. They're commenting on your Warhammer.
Oh, it's a good one. If you want to know what that Warhammer looks like, it's one that I've actually been trying to get for a long time. It's called a Thorn Fist. So it looks like a fist holding a spike. So it's got the hammerhead on this end and the spike on this end. And one of them is in the movie Van Helsing. It's very briefly in the movie. It's not featured or anything. When they are at good old what's-her-name's house. Hugh Jackman, i.e. Van Helsing, you know, is just, they're having a conversation or a fight or whatever it is. I'm one of the few that really wanted a sequel to that movie. I like seeing monsters on the screen. Of course I wanted to see more of it.
Alan, do you work from a single mold when making your stuff, or do you make production molds?
What I often do is, if I know I'm going to do a lot, I do production molds. It is not uncommon for me, though, to only sell 20 or 30 of a mask. And so I don't normally make a production mold until I've pulled about 4 or 5 and kind of gauge a response. And then I'll do a production mold if I need to. Or actually, I'll do a master. And a master looks just like this, except, you know, it's foam filled. So I can sit this down, I can remold this over and over and over again.
Where are you going to be in Indiana?
I'm going to be in Indiana twice this year. We have 2 shows. I'm a terrible person because
Anderson
I will be in Anderson
and Huntington.
and Huntington, Indiana. There you go. My wife knows all. All right, so that little underpainting is just to make the colors I use later pop. And normally I really like how they look at this stage, because all you're doing is popping that detail.
Do any of your masks come with an evil curse?
Do any of my masks come with an evil curse? Most masks you have to curse yourselves. Rob, who works in the shop with me, it is not uncommon to hear him curse while he's pouring up the mask, because the molds are heavy. So they are cursed before they get to you, but they are not normally cursed, to my knowledge. So this is a mask I sculpted maybe 3 years ago. Because I sculpted this when we still lived in Sweetbriar, which was in Mesquite, Texas. So this is an older mask. And this one and the other one, they're both bat creatures, but I sculpted a couple years apart. And this is the older one, and I like it less. It's not bad, it's a good sculpt, but it's not as good as the other one. Great.
Josh Lucas says it's looking awesome.
Thank you, Josh Lucas. What's important to me is that I keep the black in between all those islands of color. Not color right now, it's white, but I'm keeping that layer of black in there. And that's going to add a lot of depth. Where these are going to go, the Monster Museum, it's actually fairly well lit. However, people are outside at a Renaissance festival before they go into this museum. So their eyes are really not adjusted at all. So it's very dark in there for a lot of people, just because they're going from the outside to the inside.
Were there any certain items at Transworld this year that blew you away?
I didn't get to see any because I was in my booth. I was either in my booth or I was teaching. I did not even get to see the whole show floor this year. So I'm sure that there was some of the vendors that normally bring it. I was a little bit surprised because their displays were smaller. Like normally Beastcraft, boy, they came in with such a wow with that, wraith thing or whatever it was that slowly twerked on top of a gravestone. And they had a really cool wolf man. They had their neat possums last year. They didn't really, I wasn't as wowed this year by Beastcraft. Or all of their stuff was equally good and nothing really stood out. What stood out to me, yes, okay. The 15-foot tall or 12-foot tall skeletons from Scare Factory, they were only $1,500. They were a bargain for the size that they were, and they were like giant posable skeletons. Pretty cool. All right, so this guy has been based, except for down here.
It's amazing what dry brushing can do.
Oh, dry brushing is, if I only had one painting skill, it would be dry brushing. You know, if I could only use one, it's like, okay, dry brushing, that's it. Not even a really hard choice, because you can do a lot of stuff with it. Okay. Mask number 3. Now I'm going to grab the gray, so I'll be right back because I want him to have kind of a gray tone.
You're going to dry brush him, Gray?
Mm-hmm. Actually, I'm going to grab a little bit of black to make him a little darker.
What type of paint is it? Interior latex paint?
This is 1/3 casting latex, 1/3 latex mask paint. Well, 1/3 latex house paint, and then 1/3 distilled water. That's what I'm painting this with. We use that because it has a good flexibility, and I will be able to, on a mask, you're certainly able to wear it and move it and stretch it, and it's very safe. And a lot of you are probably thinking, Alan, why are you painting it gray when you just painted it white? Underpainting is a technique that you use to make a color brighter. And I'm just doing it in general here. If I were painting red, something red, if I painted red on this black base coat, it would be darker than it should be because there's black under it. But if I paint white, then the light travels all the way through the red, bounces off the white, comes back through the red, and it makes it redder. So that is what I'm doing with underpainting. Most years. We missed it last year for several reasons, one of which was my wife broke her foot and could not walk. So during that time, she was still recovering and had, a boot and all that. So that was just at a bad time. Normally we go every year. I'll definitely be going this year because it's Netherworld. Maybe I could lower this a little bit because some of you might want to see me talk. I don't know. You just see my mouth. You guys tell me what's important.
That was the first legendary we had missed since 2012.
Yeah, we've been at every legendary since 2012. We just missed last year because of my wife's foot. It's at Netherworld this year in their new location, and I'm very excited. I think of the Armstrongs as friends of mine, good people. They run a great haunt, and I feel that Ben and I are very like-minded when it comes to haunting and sometimes the way we approach things.
I'm excited about Legendary this year.
Ben is a little more on the character side and the story side. I think I'm a little more on the making stuff side. Okay. So I have that. That's a base coat for this guy. This should dry, and then I will do a base coat, another base coat, where I add paint to these colors to start lightening as I do less and less dry brush on it. But now, same monster, gray. But it's more gray than it would be if I just did gray on top of the mix. These two creatures are similar, but I'm going to go with a little bit of a light blue with some white for this.
Did you do any vlogging at Transworld this year?
I did not. Really, at Transworld, I don't have time to do anything. I go to Transworld, I'm in my booth, I work my booth, and I teach classes. And I barely socialized this year. I worked my butt off you know, and then
Fell over.
went to the hotel and I fell over. I fell asleep. And you also, you know, vendors work their butt off before Trans World. So no, I did not. I'm a terrible person. But there are lots of really nice walkthroughs of Trans World. I've kind of been watching those videos ever since we got back. I'll find a new, you know, Trans World walkthrough video and just watch it. Watch the hell out of it. I'm not worried about the teeth right now. I am keeping the teeth in this mix. As far as dry brushing goes, I'm not worried about not doing the teeth because I know I'll go and do the teeth later with a different color. This has a little bit of that blue in it, so it's not as white as it was. That's a little gray. That's good. It's not as gray as the one that's gray, but boy, what color are orcs? That's the question, isn't it? I like my orcs to be like a magenta. That's the color I want orcs to be. So, kind of the same color that the Uruk-hai were in Lord of the Rings.
Green or gray is what's being said.
Why are you going to paint something else gray? Paint so much gray. I do goblins more on the gray side. Green side, I should say. Green. I have here some magenta and some black that I'm mixing together.
Do a violet orc. I've never seen that.
Well, look at the color I just mixed up. Because this is my magenta with a little bit of in it. But it also has a little bit of gray in it because I just used gray and I didn't use a different brush. And I'm painting, I will be painting a little brighter than you think is necessary. That is because it's going to be dark where these guys are. And I want that color to pop.
The Expedition Bigfoot Museum is only 2 hours north of Netherworld. Just saying.
Who was that?
That was Third Degree of Terror.
Who is Warren Maxwell?
What? Warren.
I'd be down for a day trip, I think.
During Legendary?
Yeah.
Expedition Bigfoot Museum. Did you thank him for your video?
Oh, I haven't. Well, I'm just now talking to him. Warren, I got the Bigfoot movie that you sent me. I cannot wait to watch it. My wife can't wait either.
Oh, Warren.
Me and Warren are Bigfoot buddies.
Yeah.
The first mask I ever sculpted and molded was Bigfoot. And Warren came here for Monster Camp, and the first mask that he ever sculpted and molded was a Bigfoot mask. Okay, so this guy I can see shading and stuff, bringing him darker, but right now, I don't mind this base coat on him at all. It's not making me mad.
digging your pointy beard trimming. You look very Sean Connery in First Night.
I like a pointed beard, so yes, I trim my beard to a point. I just like it that way. Who said that?
Keith Runick. That movie. I don't know why.
I liked First Night too.
I did. I liked that movie.
Okay, so now that I have this guy grayed out, that's the darkest gray that we're going to do, and that was this gray with a little bit of black in it. I'm still going to do that. Just going to leave this color on. I'm going to lighten this a little.
Warren says, it's not as painful as the Ivan Marks film. You'll be okay, Shannon. Thank you, Warren.
Yeah, it was a Bigfoot movie that I made Warren watch.
Oh, my God.
Or should I say let Warren watch? One of the two.
Warren was stranded.
But
You did that.
even then, he was like checking his watch going, how much more of this is there?
Yeah.
And he's a fan. All right, so now I feel I am a good one color up, meaning it's lighter. It's a lighter tone. And once again, though, I'm doing a nice dry brush.
Keith Runick says, I did finally watch Dog Soldiers. It was terrible.
You know what? I think Dog Soldiers are some of the most overrated werewolves I've ever seen. They're like shirtless dudes with long legs. They barely have any hair on their bodies. And they have pretty much straight wolf heads is what it looks like to me. And I that's not my aesthetic. Give me the Howling any day. You know, the Howling is kind of my penultimate werewolf. I did just use the word penultimate in a sentence. And right now I'm quietly hoping that I used it correctly. Okay, so this now has two different types of gray on it. With that white underpainting. Well, one of those actors in my booth was Rob, and then another one was Rue, and the other was Brian Gantz.
It's the most still walkers we've ever had.
Yeah, we normally have 2 still walkers, and we bumped to 3 this year, and I think that is really nice. I'm just finding spots to clean my brush off because I want my brush to not pick up a lot of that darkness because he is a lighter creature. And I'll be airbrushing these guys too here in a bit. And that's where I'll put some shading and stuff back in. All right.
Will you put eyeballs in the heads?
I will. Already.
Mike's Haunted Woodwork says, pretty centaur you finally finished up.
Man, those Skullbirds.
Skullbirds are brutal.
Giving me a bunch of hell on how long it took me to do the centaur. I bought all the pieces for that.
Brutal.
2016. So, okay, it's fair. Yeah, it took me 3 years to get it together. You know, I've been sitting around doing nothing all day. That's what I do.
Ezekiel asked, did you find the gentleman you were looking for from Transworld?
No, I did not. I did find the company whose booth it was, and I saw a couple other videos with him in it, but man, he was doing I thought his character work seemed pretty great in that one short video. It was really good. So I'm adding white to the color that I've already based him out in. I'm adding a little more blue too. I don't want to lose that blue tone in there. I just use my table as a palette. I think it's fine. It does upset some people, but it's my table. Yes, this time I did just start right in the middle of the face, but I was confident. And I'm not hitting everything. I'm leaving some of that other color under there first. I'm hitting the high stuff. On top of that forehead, that's pretty high. I should hit that. A little lump on the side of the eye, going up these ear veins.
Do you need any styrofoam wig heads? I have 2 boxes of them. I need to get rid of them. This is Sculpting.
Yes, I will take them. I go through styrofoam wig heads like someone who goes through a bunch of stuff. Two layers. Yes, there's 2 different colors on there. I swear it.
When dry brushing multiple colors, do you keep covering each layer or leave it a little showing from the previous layer?
The most dry brushing you do is that first layer, and everyone after that, I'm just doing a little less and a little less. So I do want to leave a little bit showing. That is the most direct way to answer your question.
I'm headed to strike for a show, but I wanted to say this looks awesome. What is the best way to sculpt? Is it okay to use a styrofoam head or should I use a plaster bust?
I would use a bust or any kind of a sculpting form. A styrofoam head is just, it's not the right proportions. It's way too small. So anything, and latex already shrinks, so anything you make on that, it's just not going to fit you. So it won't be a wearable mask, and I like my masks to be masks, except for in this case where my mask is a prop head. But yes, use a sculpting armature of some kind. See, this one, I think you can tell this is a much brighter color that's going on. And this is a color that I like. It's a little bright for some people. Again, it's going to be in a dark environment, so I don't mind it appearing brighter here than it will on set. On set being a monster museum. And on this one, I left a little bit of that white even showing through, which made a nice gray. Okay.
Very nice. It says
Good evening, Barry.
Larry.
Mm-hmm.
Skullberg says that looks brutal.
Well, good. Okay, I've just added a bunch of white to this base gray for him, which is, you know, on the darker side. And that's going to lighten it up. I'm still trying to get that maroon off of my brush. Maroon, burgundy, magenta, whatevs. So this is a lighter gray, and it's a lighter color. And I'm going to do a lighter dry brush. I'm not going to hit as many spots as I did before. See, I'm working to get more off of the brush. And these are highlights.
Will you have sculpting bust at MHC?
I will have some at MHC, yes.
Says I purchased a $30 blank from you and had you sign it. Now I don't want to paint it. Thanks.
Paint it. Wear it. And that is really all I need of that color. On this one, you'll be able to see much better. There's several colors of gray.
Sounds like a song. How long did the blank bucket last at Transworld?
The blank bucket went pretty quick, or at least we got down to, 2 or 3 pretty quick. And once something like that is down to 2 or 3, those ones stick around a while. That's just how it is. So yeah, they went pretty quick.
Blank still didn't go as fast as masks did.
No, they didn't go as fast as $30 masks, but I wasn't in a regrouping phase where I was changing a bunch either. Last year, I really changed how I was doing things and where my focus was, which is why I had a product I just didn't end up wanting to sell. So I sold it cheap like the ghetto. Honey, would you bring me a soda from in there? Thanks. Now I'm following, the ear lines, the cheekbone, and
I'm a huge Man-Bat fan.
oh, me too.
Keith Runick says this.
I was a Man-Bat for many years. That was kind of one of my staple costumes. It was a quadruped bat suit.
That's your wife.
It got me a wife. When I met my lovely wife. Okay, so that's done. Again, you need less and less for each one.
Show me the Warhammer.
I will. It's actually out in my van. Hopefully you can see some differences in that, especially when it's back here. You can see that this cheek is a much lighter color than in up. That's lighter. You can see this is highlighted. This is highlighted on the edge there. I'm gonna go grab a Warhammer. Wife, you want to tell them a story?
Will you be gone that long?
I'll be gone a little while.
Oh, guys, I had a story lined up, and I can't remember what it was. Trying to think. As usual, the stories here, I've noticed this pattern. They tend to focus on nudity, which is certainly not a pattern, but I've noticed that it's become a pattern. So I'm trying to think of something that doesn't have anything to do with nudity. Alan told me today that he accidentally bought a Warhammer at the Renaissance Festival. Now, I don't know how you accidentally purchase one, but that is how he phrased it, which I found very amusing. Let's see it. Oh my God. Where's that gonna go?
This is the kind of thing that when I purchase it, it makes me want zombies to be like a real thing. Look at it! Isn't that the best? This is a Thorn Fist, Warhammer, or Mace. It's probably 2.5, 3 pounds. That's a lot of metal on the end there. It's just nice, man. That's a nice piece. Ah, yeah. Careful letting mosquitoes in there, love. But yeah, you wanted to see you want the Warhammer? You got the Warhammer.
Oh no. June bug came in. Hope he doesn't land on me.
Okay. So I now have a delicious beverage.
Yay. Everybody demonstrate. That is pretty gangsta.
Yeah.
Stolberg says I'd have bought it too.
Oh, it's lovely. It's lovely. I've been wanting one of those for years. All right, so I now have the Orc of Happy Pinkness. And I think this guy's ready for airbrush. I think actually all of them. Well, let me hit some under the eye color, make that a little, and I'll hit gums on all of them, and then I'll move to airbrush. Which means I have to grab a smaller brush.
So how did you buy that? That's Ezekiel. I agree, Ezekiel. I don't know how that accidentally happened.
I held it,
And that's how it happened.
and that made me buy it. Because I, too, recognize wonderful pieces of art.
And Conan the Barbarian, Thorgrim has a pretty badass warhammer in the Battle of the Mounds scene.
Yes. Yes, he does.
Thing is we don't know where that one's going to go.
I kind of have a Warhammer problem. That Warhammer is my 5th Warhammer. So
You were not in focus.
I have a lot of Warhammers. Stay with me. Stay with me. Refocus. Very good. So yeah, gums and teeth. Gums and teeth.
I accidentally buy things all the time, Ezekiel said.
Yeah, I'm glad you can relate.
I don't think people realize how much weaponry you own.
Who said that?
Me.
Oh. Well, that's a weird comment.
I said that. For it is true.
I do have a lot of weaponry. I like weapons. More of a penchant for medieval weapons. I'm not anti-gun by any means. But right now
You're out of focus. You're very out of focus.
I'm all out of focus. I'm so lost without it.
Are you going to make the eyes lifelike or more dead looking? Rolled back in the head, filmed over, something like that.
Lifelike.
Thulsa Doom was a great villain.
He was.
What? That pink color changes that mask from man-bat to orc. I really like that one.
Well, this is, I think that anything in the pink, rose, magenta family, most, haunted house guys steer clear of because it's a risky color, but this is what I'm just trying to use. It's not working, so I'll try myself a little mix here if I can get this to work. I like color. I think that what we do, a lot of haunted house people, my monster museum is the same way, happens in darkness. And I want people to see it. So I do that with color. Color is, everybody is concerned with lighting their haunted house, but they don't think that, painting your mask is the first stage in lighting your haunt. If I can paint this mask in such a way, it's already got a spotlight on it, I'm winning. I don't think this color is different enough. It's different. Different color. I think I just have to go out of the family because I mixed up a whole different color for under the eyes and the gums, but it's not happening. It's not different enough. I'm just going to go with this blue. I will deepen that blue.
The magenta is nicely fantastical.
Thank you.
Warm.
I'm adding just a little bit of just craft paint blue to it. This isn't on a mask, and I know that it doesn't really have to flex. So this color is very different from the one that's on it. Gums are now lighter.
Out of focus. It gives a raw skin feel like burnt or flayed skin.
Yeah, it does a little bit. I don't mind that. And now I have a little bit of this light color left. I'm gonna just lighten up inside of the ears, because that's like almost you're looking inside of them a little bit. So a little bit of this coming out of the nose. That's his soft bits color. Okay. Something about this magenta just pulls everything to its color, which is okay. I'll beat it up with the airbrush. And then I'll bind up. This color that was not successful for the other one, I'm going to use on this one. And this guy doesn't really have gums, but I will pop his lips a little bit with it. When I do the lips have such a subtle color that I end up rubbing it off of them. And I leave just the memory of that color, and that warms it up sufficiently for my tastes. A little bit of work inside the ears here with this color. Once again, this is what this creature looks like.
Any thoughts about war paint on orcs?
I'm always pro war paint.
Give him a nose and steel hoop earrings.
I could probably do the bone in the nose. Don't think I have steel hoop earrings. But I'm not opposed to steel hoop earrings. Okay, and this one, I do think I'm going to use the same color, but it's really going to pop on him. That means I have to be a little more careful. So I'll start with the ear color, which is less important. Yeah, that was harsh. Now I could do this with shading, and what I'm really doing is I just have enough paint on here. I'm changing the temperature of the paint job. I'm cooling it down.
Skullberg says, can't wait for the Game of Thrones finale. We have our t-shirts, we're ready.
You know what? That is
You have got your t-shirt.
Game of Thrones is just a well done show. It's not even the finale. I enjoy watching the show. And The Walking Dead used to be like that. And then The Walking Dead, they had a couple episodes in a row that just were not fun to watch. And if I'm going to invest an hour in something a week, it had better be fun, you know? And it wasn't. So I stopped watching The Walking Dead. I now watch the 10-minute recaps of people who watch it and then tell you what happened in the episode. I watch those on YouTube.
Keith Rick says the Urukai had Sauron's white hand on their face.
They did. And when I was doing a haunted house that was a paintball themed haunt in 2011. Wait. No, 2003. Right?
The one in
Allen.
Matt wasn't Matt Young on stilts? That was in Midlothian. That was 2002.
No, well, I used it then, but in 2003.
You did Horror at Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
Was in Midlothian.
In 2003, I did a paintball haunted house in Allen, Texas, that I was the director of. And we had such a hard time getting actors to stay and getting actors to, handle being shot at so much by paintballs. That was the year I kind of learned how to master the Braveheart speech. And I, as a team strengthening thing, every actor before we opened gave them a speech, basically. I gave them a Sauron speech, and I put a white hand on them, with my hand, just to kind of pump their energy up.
Does anyone want Cersei Lannister to get thrown into a wood chipper?
Well, of course, that's what she's for. Once Joffrey was gone, you needed someone to hate lovingly.
Well, we had Ramsay to hate.
Mm-hmm. And now we hate Cersei. Okay. I'm ready for the airbrush. Time for some airbrush action. You can do it.
Keith Runnett says he loves Braun.
Who says this?
Keith Runnett.
Oh yeah, Braun's one of my favorites. Tell you what, Jamie is growing on me. But Braun and the Hound are my two faves. I'm untangling airbrush hoses.
Says he was great in the books. Janie will die for throwing Braun out the window. Are you talking Braun or Braun? He said Braun. Are you talking? I think
Braun. Yeah.
Well, Braun is the kid. Is the three-eyed raven. Braun is your favorite.
Yeah, Braun is the sword fighter. Bran is what's in Serial, and the kid in the wheelchair now. He's the Raven. I'm the three-eyed raven. Three-eyed raven sounds like a band name, and I'm waiting for them to drop their mixtape.
There's Graham from the UK.
Hey, Graham.
Graham called you a Baratheon.
I've been called worse. I'm stoutly built and fairly hairy. I'll take it. He's right. I like warhammers. Battle axes. Really, I'm a battle axe guy. I won't tell you how many battle axes I own. It's many.
Swords.
I own a lot of swords. Okay, so this airbrush has not been cleaned for a while. But it was sealed up.
The Dragon Asylum props built for Transworld is living in San Francisco at an event called The Taste of Fronts.
Nice.
That's fun.
Nice.
Top feed airbrush. What is favorite?
Top feed? Pache Talon. A Pache Talon. I really like them. figure now you want to see more of this painting action. And I want to figure out what color I'm using. Shadow gray. As I said, dirty airbrush. Okay.
I just bought some color shift acrylic paint last night. Does anyone like that?
There are things that I use color shift for. I actually mix that when I'm doing my insect paint jobs, because I think that's a good insect trait.
Do you guys do Halloween themed painted eggs for Easter? That's boring.
We normally do not. If I had kids in the house or something like that, I have no doubt that we would do some fun Easter eggs.
Some Halloween Easter eggs?
Yeah. How did you hear talking?
No, I hear what sounds like a four-wheeler way out in the distance.
Okay.
That's what I believe I'm hearing.
I'm just hitting some spots to give them a little more shading, a little more drama.
I'm painting an aboleth that will be glossy when done.
A what?
Aboleth, A-B-O-L-E-T-H.
Aboleth, as in the giant fish monster, which is like a catfish with psionic powers. Aboleth, that's what I know an aboleth to be. All that's done on this now is shading. See? And I'm going to use the same color to shade the orc. I'm going to change colors to shade the next guy.
Still liking the Picard links. I just picked them up. Can't wait to try them out.
The Pinata inks, yes. Yeah, well, Jacquard Pinata is the Pinata by Jacquard. Yeah, I like them a lot. You're laughing at me going in the Vanna mode?
I am. For my Pathfinder game. For the aboleth.
Okay.
Well, I must love you and leave you, for it's the future here. And I have to go Easter egg hunting and check into a chocolate coma. Have a great Easter, all. That was Ezekiel.
Very good, sir. It's the future in
It's
Australia.
the future here.
And if you're not careful, the shading process is where you can really muddy it up. Because you're like, yeah, a little bit of shading looks good. Let's do more. And then, you know, before you know it, you did too much, and it's over shaded, and that just makes it muddy. And we don't want muddy. Okay. I'm going to hit these cheekbones. Okay. That's better. Mm-hmm. See, and that purple orc has just, you know, toned down and made it better, in my opinion. All right, so I think that I want to shade him with blue. And right now I have a little bit of shadow gray in here already, but very little. I can actually clear the airbrush just by doing that. Clear enough-ish. These guys will get a lot of personality from the shading now. So set that down for a second. Put the lid back on. Always, after you use something, put the lid right back on it.
I always remember the day when we were in the ortho top of the museum. Dana was in her white dress. Dan had some black leather stain, and he had left the lid off of it. And she just walked by it and just freaked out.
Oh yeah, you don't leave the lid off of it.
He left the lid off.
Raising it up a little bit so I get a little more favorable angles. Like a little bit on the gums too. That's nice. Okay. Hey, guess what I just did? I just poured blue ink all over this guy's nose.
Oh.
So, before it dries, I need to hit that with some alcohol. Accidents happen.
How'd that happen?
Well, it's a paint cup. And that, so you guys can see what is happening. Here we are.
How will you resolve?
Well, you know what? There isn't anything to really get upset over. This is just paint. You take the whole amount of time that I spent on it. Well, you know, I don't think that looks very bad either. I think the whole amount of time I spent on painting just this one, you know. I'm going to move because I want to be repairing this area. And it's not terrible, but it's a little bit terrible. Getting a low battery warning. Mm-hmm. That's easy to fix. I'll change where you guys are. So.
Warren says happy accident.
Yeah, I mean it's not terrible. Me getting frustrated and upset would have been way worse, you know, time-wise and energy-wise, than just, yep, made a mistake, let's fix it. I'm just taking some white and I'm dry brushing over that area again. I'm going to shade with blue, so it's not like, is that gone? No, but it's fracking mostly gone. I'm okay with it. I call it done. The fix I call done. Not the mask. I'm gonna tighten up here.
Hi, Uncle Alan. My name is Emma. I'm Thomas's daughter.
Okay, very cool. Hello, Emma. Now I have it set on a really fine, it's not putting out a lot of ink, it's a fine amount of ink I'm putting out. And I'm hitting these more fine wrinkles.
Christopher Sosa says, hey Alan, big fan.
Well, thank you for watching. Okay, I'm doing some veining in the ears. I'm going to do some veining too around the muzzle, I think. And I think my air compressor is turned off. I'm like getting less and less pressure, which makes for really good veining. But that's all it's good for, is veining.
The other day, I saw stores loading in 4th of July stuff. As soon as that junk comes off the shelves, Halloween is going up fast.
That's true. You're correct.
Start watching for Code Orange.
Okay, so I'm happy with the amount of blue shading and stuff on that. So blue shading and veining. So I'm gonna move on. While I have the blue set up, I will hit the other bat.
Do you know a real horse skull is over $100 on eBay? Does anyone have a hookup?
What do you want a real horse skull for when you could make a fake horse skull, which smells better? But if you want a real one, yeah, they're about $100 on eBay. I'm not a big, like, I don't stop and get real bones or anything like that now. I'm out of that phase. It just smells bad. You're never sure of what's living in it if you got it out, you know. I mean, I'll make my own dead animals, thank you very much.
He says, I'm going to replace the fake one on my Home Depot zombie horse. Okay.
Well, you could just, you know, make a really nice one. We did a horse-headed La Llorona a few years back for one of our shows at Dark Hour, and I made the whole horse skull out of EVA foam. It's comfortable, it looks good.
They said, is there a video on that, of how you made it?
No, because I made it in a day at Dark Hour. I just knocked it out. This guy has a lot of little blue veins on him. Okay. I'm not opposed to blue on this orc. I have some in my airbrush. Let's see what it does. I think I want to treat under the eyes. Yeah, blew those up. Okay, just a little bit more of that color on him. I like the blue under the eyes better though. And while he's here, let's go ahead and start thinking about, you know, stage 2. Let me get his teeth painted.
Says it looks like bruising.
Yeah.
on the work.
Yeah, bruising is it's blood under the skin. Till I get quieter when I'm doing teeth because it requires more concentration from me. That's teeth paint 1 on there. They'll get more paints, more colors.
Got a good picture of the centaur posted today.
Yeah. You tag your husband?
It's not letting me tag. I'll have Robert tag it for you.
So yeah, first step on teeth to me, I always just pop them with, this is off-white. It's not a pure white. I don't really have a pure white in the shop. But it's about as close as I can get. And often when I'm popping the teeth with white, I will hit the bottom lip with just a little bit of white to act like a highlight. Just looks like more light is catching that. So I don't ever like to paint one thing at a time because you got to wait for stuff to dry. While I'm doing 3 though, this is a pretty good schedule. By the time I get to the 3rd one again, it's dry enough where I can work on it. So one tip is don't paint one thing at a time. Waste your time and a noise to pick. And the teeth are not getting dry brushed. I'm actually painting those, meaning I have liquid paint on my brush. I'm loading it up and I'm running the brush off of it so that the paint wicks off. I'm not painting them so much that it drips and goes anywhere. If paint dripped off of this and went between the teeth, that would not look good. Okay.
Any tips for starting SFX makeup? I'm supposed to get my Ben Nye makeup kit this Wednesday, and I don't know what to start on first. This is Emma.
All right, Emma, you want to start on bruises. You want to start, start doing some good bruises. I don't know if you're on Pinterest, but start a Pinterest board of bruises so that you can, know what they are supposed to look like and then emulate those on the body. Cuts, scrapes, bruises, your basic injuries are what you want to work on first. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It's eyeball time. Woo!
Any more tips for Emma?
No, because what I just said about working on bruises and working on cuts and scrapes and abrasions and that kind of stuff and faking freckles, that's months of work. So there's no point in getting ahead until you kind of start doing with that stuff. I think the first little makeup kit that almost everybody gets should be like a bruise wheel from, Ben Nye or one of those, a Ben Nye bruise wheel. It's pretty basic. But you do a lot of stuff with it, and everybody has one in their kit, whether they are a multi-million-dollar makeup artist or can't open a bucket. Bucket. How does this open? Magic. It has a little tab thing. Tab just broke off in my hand. I don't know if that's planned or not. Ah, it was planned. I did it. Bill Nye is the science guy. Ben Nye is a makeup artist, makeup maker guy. All right, so what I have here is a product that I haven't used before, but I'm excited about it. This is EVA foam clay. This happens to be from TNT Cosplay Supply. And I thought that this clay, which is kind of marshmallowy, and then it air dries and turns into like EVA foam, would be really good for helping me set these eyes in place. So give it a shot. Let's do the fun. So I'm letting all the teeth dry because those are painted. They don't necessarily dry as dry brushing because there's more paint involved. So already that's kind of okay. You know, that doesn't look terrible. But I need to build around those, you know, eyelids and just all the crap around them that should be there.
Foam clay is great for teeth and claws. Looks sharp, but safe.
Yeah, like me.
How fast does it set up?
I don't know. It cures in 24 to 48 hours, so that's fine. It's going to be soft to give me a lot of working time. And set up, you know, anything that's air dry, it's going to take a long time. Probably a couple hours. There's no chemical reaction to make it happen faster.
Where are the eyes from?
These eyes are from eBay, okay? So, not eBay, no. They're from Amazon. These are paper-backed glass eyes. It's a glass cabochon with a sticker on the back of it. And I got a bunch of them from Amazon. And they like come in variety packs. So in this little container, I have big ones, tiny small ones, you know. Kind of see the different sizes. Those are the big eyes that I normally use, but I thought these would work really well. They're on Amazon, and they're normally in mix. I'm going to go ahead and take out some more material in this eye. I'm taking out more material because I need to make a nice bed for this eye to sit on. And this foam is not crushable like the clay would be. So I think I'll be able to better position the eye if I take out the foam, replace that backing, with the clay. I'm going to grab a few sculpting tools too because I need to sculpt this. Have to find my sculpting tools. Honey,
When was the last time you sculpted?
tell a story. It was at the show.
Transworld?
Yeah,
Oh dear.
they're
Okay.
probably in here. So tell a story, wife.
Okay, so in 2016, oh my gosh, hang on a second. Okay, so in 2016, we were hired by, many of you may know Alexis Garcia, who's on the board of directors at the Haunted Attractions Association, the HAA. And he has a haunted house in Puerto Rico called Soul Screams. And we were hired to actor train. He brought us down for a week in glorious Puerto Rico. This was not the touristy part of Puerto Rico. It was like an old part of Puerto Rico, which was just beautiful. And the first day we got there, Alexis just gets a hold of us and says, okay, we're going to go look at this, and I want you to come see this, and what do you think about this? And he drove us everywhere. And by about 8:30, he got us to our hotel, and we were pretty hammered because to get to Puerto Rico and then have a full day, we were up at about 2 in the morning, to the airport at 4, what have you. Anyway, we Alan and I got to our hotel room. It was about 8:30. Alan fell over on the bed, and I mean fell sound asleep. He was completely out. And I wasn't quite out, so I went down to the bar and I got myself a beverage and brought it back to the room and did a little interneting and just kind of unwound for a bit. And then I fell asleep. About 12:30, I hear something moving around in our hotel room. And I got up, I looked, and there's Alan. And he's getting dressed. And I mean, putting on his clothes, putting full clothes on. So what are you doing? He says, there's a food truck down there. And I was like, it's 12:30 at night because I'm hungry. And he went down there, and there's a discoteca, right next to our hotel, which you'd think that would be loud, you couldn't sleep, but we were so tired we slept right through it. And then we kind of got accustomed to the sound of it and kind of liked it. And he went down there, and he found this food truck. It wasn't even really a truck, it was like a cart.
It was a cart.
And they made a sandwich called a tripletas.
Tripletas!
Tripletas. And he went down and got one, and then he raved about it for the rest of the day, the next day.
Amazing.
So that night, after our first day, we're back at the hotel, fall over, and again, he gets up at midnight. Again, because, people in Puerto Rico stay up and party, and they got to eat. He's up again at midnight, 12:30, putting his clothes back on. What are you doing? The tripletas guy's downstairs. He runs downstairs, so I'm like, all right, that's it.
His name was Mario.
Mario, Chef Mario.
And he's an important factor in my life.
He is, because it's like, okay, that's it. I'm putting my clothes on too. I'm going with you. So I get dressed, run downstairs. It's like the ice cream guy in your neighborhood, and you run outside to get ice cream. There's a tripletas man. We ran outside. Of course, he's not going anywhere. And we went down there and got a tripletas. Alan's with just meat and cheese and bread. Mine with absolutely everything. And I mean everything. Every vegetable conceivable, every pepper, every onion, anything that he offered, I wanted it on mine. I wanted all of it. And we sat there in the square at home in Ponce and sat there without any shoes on. We looked homeless. And ate the most delicious sandwich.
Listening to little coquille frogs.
Little cookies in the history of man. And every night, about 12:30, we would run down there and get up in the middle of the night, just run down. I got to the point where just run down there in your pajamas. Who cares?
When I got home, I needed some vegetables.
Yeah, we were a mess. We got home. But I did learn to make plantains, which were absolutely delicious. So whenever we hear from our friends in Puerto Rico from Soul Screams, we're always asking them to please bring us some mofongo and some tripletas, because it was, without doubt, the most delicious sandwich in the middle of the night in your pajamas around strangers. Didn't matter. Delicious. As a rule, I don't follow Alan into the dark to have a sandwich because I know he's going to come back. After that, yeah. Sandwich, we're going to go. So there you go. Take it away, Alan.
So sculpting this stuff.
Aren't your sculpting tools?
No, this is kind of like marshmallows that are angry at you. It's good about, you know, it's got some, it'll hold. It's kind of like clay, but but clay doesn't do this.
I saw this product used on punished prosthetic, but don't get it wet even after dry. Instead, it turned to the consistency of wet clay. Looks like the kneaded eraser material.
It does. It feels like that too.
Crayola Air Dry Caulk is like that.
Yeah, a little spongy. Okay, so I am setting these eyes in place. I made a little bed of that clay, and then I could push these as deep as I wanted them to go. Because you think about, you know, how big an eyeball is and how much of an eyeball you actually see. You don't really see a lot of your eyes. What I do like, I like how much this compresses on itself. That's very nice.
Same consistency of silly putty?
It's very silly putty-esque. Yes. And on this, I need different amounts of clay for each eye. That's why I'm not doing my normal my normal is I'll get a piece in my hand and use one for one side and one for the other. But I don't need that much. I just want to set the eye with this. I'm not doing a lot of sculpting with it. I just want it to go around the eyeball.
Is this mask going to be for a prop?
Yes, this is a prop for my Mythical Monster Museum.
Michael Astor says he feels like the orc is judging him.
As he should. Now, I don't know, like, it just kind of sticks to my sculpting tools and moves weird. So, it's very hard to actually sculpt with it. I think I'm going to deny everything that I've been told so far and try some water with it.
I am at 18%.
Okay.
How much longer do you think you will? Should I go get my cord?
Yeah, okay. Time is it?
9:42.
9:42. We'll probably go till 10:30.
Bill Doran on Punished Props suggests spraying this prop with clear coat to protect it from any water or sweat from actors affecting the dried product.
Yeah, I will certainly. This isn't going to go on an actor, so what I will probably do is I'll clear coat this whole thing. But let's see if the water keeps it from sticking to my tool. Only a little. It's a nice textured bit around the eye. What I've done in the past for this is I use modeling clay. Because modeling clay will, and that's what a lot of taxidermists use, and that's why I used it. It never dries. It just goes in there, you know. I'll use like a red modeling clay, but thought I'd give this stuff a shot. I don't think I like it. It's not really sticking to the mask well. I'm gonna like uber wet this and put it in the water. Let's see if that does anything. It does give it a little bit more stickiness. Okay.
Is the clay sticking to the latex mask?
Not well, no.
Using water when sculpting was fine and made it easier to work with, just not when set.
I think it's going to end up nice. I need to figure out this material a little bit more. Okay. So this clay, I've gotten pretty wet. And this is supposed to dry like a dark gray, which of course I'll paint. Now it is much stickier. It is sticking to the mask better. Not amazing, but better. It responds better to jabbing a tool in than it does dragging. Yeah, now that I've got it nice and soupy on that side, that's doing more of what I want. I'm not going to give up regular clay, that's for sure. But, okay, this is very sticky now that I got it wet. And eyelids are always tough. You don't want it to look sleepy, you know, but you need to have an eyelid on it.
Bill didn't like using this stuff either.
Yeah, well, I'm with Bill.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go get my charger cord.
Okay.
Be right back.
My wife is going to get her cord. Yeah, easier for me to sculpt this with clay of some other kind. This is not an easy to sculpt with clay. One of the Stan Winston tutorials, Jordu Shell does sculpting with super sculpting. And Super Sculpty is kind of bubblegum-like to me. It definitely does drag a bit when you're trying to run a tool across it. What I like is that these eyes are glass, and we're not having any problems with this stuff like sticking to it. Like sometimes acrylic can just cause problems with it reacts to different materials. But I think those eyes are set, and I'll be able to paint that stuff later. How long have I been doing special effects? I have been doing special effects 25 years. That's a very safe statement. I got started on that maybe 1995. So 25 or 95 would be from 95 to 2005. 2015 would be 10. 2025 is 20. No. 95, 2005, 2015 is 20. 2015, 23 years. But I've been doing stuff for a long time. 25 is safe. 95 is when I moved away from Maryland and moved to Orlando and got serious. Normally I smooth oil-based clay with heat. That is my main tool for smoothing oil-based clay. My oil-based clay of choice is Monster Clay. And Monster Clay responds well to heat. Just a little tiny blowtorch. Once again, just removing enough material. Let me get its eyes. Yeah, see, and these eyes don't want to play nice right now because they're jerks. Again, I'll put a little pad in on each one. So I should be fighting the same material all the way around. See, that's a more centered eye. Just putting that pad on there helps me center them up quite a bit. And what's tough on this is getting a small enough amount. And I don't want the eyes to be super sunken in. So I always end up with like an edge here. So just have to build. Not using a lot. Just enough to ring that eye. Looks a bit like Bat Boy, doesn't it? I don't like this stuff. Normally I try a new material, I'm like, yeah, this stuff is cool. I don't like it. I feel like I could do this easier with the modeling clay. Now that never dries, okay? That's just gonna stay in that eye. It'll stay fairly soft. Sometimes you hope something is going to be awesome, and it isn't. This stuff, I would qualify as unawesome.
Did you see Michael Lassiter's would epoxy sculpt work?
Oh yeah, epoxy sculpt is great.
What did you build the mask up with on the inside?
Well, the mask was foamed, so I foamed it while it was in the mold. And if I have something appropriate poured up over there, I can show that to you guys before we end for the evening. It's a pretty fast thing to do.
How far did you get on your questions?
Oh, I have no idea, baby.
Okay. How do you smooth oil-based clay?
Oh, I did that one with heat.
Heat or naphtha, but never together.
Yeah, don't heat near naphtha.
What did you build the mask up on the inside? Okay, got it. Which is better, black latex or black wash?
Black wash, black wash, black wash. So at some point, you have too many contaminants in your latex and you're changing its properties. Whereas if you're painting the mask, well, you're not contaminating the latex itself, you're just changing the outside. You're putting a little skin on it. This is a gummy material. It sticks to what you don't want it to stick to. It doesn't stick to what you do want it to stick to. I don't like it. Have I complained enough now? I think I have.
You hear that?
I hear him. Okay, I'm just about to the point where I'm going to say this guy. I touch it with the tool, and it all comes up. Ah! Stab, stab! Okay. Nope, okay, we're not doing that.
Well,
It only wants me to use my fingers. That's all it wants. Okay.
We have cats in the shop.
We have multiple cats in the shop?
We have multiple cats in the shop.
I see. Worm sign.
The rats. Get them.
So, I don't think this is me obsessing over details. This is, we're making something that people are going to see a lot of. This is going to be in my museum, hopefully for many years. I have displays in the museum right now that are over 10 years old. Thousands of guests are there every year. So this is going to get seen. So I think it's worth us putting in the time, doing it right. Okay, so these eyes are set. How does that look, wife?
I like the eyes. That's great.
And I'll get that color to blend in later. And I have one more mask to do.
What are the teeth made of?
The teeth are latex. They are just in the sculpture. I used pumpkin teeth. And the pumpkin teeth were, pumpkin teeth.
How do you paint veins?
With an airbrush. And later on, if you watch this video back again, you will see how I painted these veins. Because I painted this in this video. Now this one, the foam itself wasn't as stable. There's some bubbles in this guy. So he needs a bigger pad in there a little bit. And that's not enough. I'll need a little more.
Hi, Alan. Will you guys be coming to Ohio this year?
We will not actually be headed to Ohio this year. We used to go to MHC every year in Columbus, but MHC moved. Columbus, I think, is going to try and do their own show. We'll see how that plays out. I wish everybody luck who does anything, but man, starting a trade show is tough, dude.
You were working on a demon sculpt at Transworld. How did it turn out?
I did not mold anything from Transworld. I just did it. So I did not mold.
Stop that. Stop. Why don't you-
Okay, so that's him so far, just with the eyes kind of placed in.
Bummer that you're not coming to Ohio.
Well, maybe in the future. I'll be in Chicago, which is really close to Ohio.
Warren says good night.
Good night, Warren.
Good night, Warren.
It is an hour later there. You know what?
Those eyes are amazing. Did you make them?
Nope, I bought them from Amazon. Just look up paper-backed glass eyes, and what I'll do is I will send that link to Scott Coulthart, who I bought.
The Oracle?
Yes. I will send that to him, and then he will have it. So, all right, so I am going to my next favorite product for this. This is not my favorite product. But another thing I wanted to do this out of, which requires a little more work, is zombie skin.
What type of latex do you use?
Just mask making latex. Nothing special or fancy.
While in Chicago, will you be going to a Cubs game?
No, I will be going to the show and then leaving. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, this is not that I don't like Chicago. I love Chicago. Used to go there all the time, and it was a very great city to visit. But trade shows are not vacations for us. We work. We go there. We do some things. We get some stuff done.
Very
This
well said.
product is almost done. This is zombie skin, but this zombie skin is old. It's going to look a little rough at first. But I will tell you, I already prefer the way this stuff handles.
That is very well said. That
Now, a lot of people look at the shows as vacations,
that's true.
and that we can't. I don't do that. This is my job. I'm not a jokey guy, or I don't have fun. I make stuff. It's very rare that I am somewhere to have fun. They say, "Come on, we're here to have fun. Loosen up." No one ever says that to me, because I'm never anywhere to have fun. I'm there to work. But that's how I like it. That's right.
Can you use the latex cheapy tubes from Home Depot? Would you want to put in a dish soap and water like silicone tubes?
I could probably use caulk for this.
Example, put the latex in the mold made of resin or silicone.
Oh, no, you can't use that kind of, you can't use caulk in a mold. It's a different animal. Just buy latex. It's really not that expensive when you consider what it's doing for you.
How would you dilute the latex to pour into a mold?
I wouldn't. I thought you were suggesting I use latex silicone caulking for this. I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty good idea.
Larry Hughes is just kidding. He knows you have to. He's from Chicago.
Oh. Well, will we see you at the show then? One of the cool things about this zombie skin material is that it goes through stages, and this is a real thick zombie skin. A lot of times it's a lot more wet than this, but this tube I was supposed to take the dark hour and I just forgot. So I've had it in my shop for a while. Through Texas heat, it probably froze once. So.
Says I just can't seem to find good latex anywhere.
Where are you? Where are you located?
Like alien, fat alien.
Yeah, tell me where you're located, and I will help you find the closest place to ship latex to you.
How difficult is it to remove the pumpkin teeth from the mold?
It's not hard at all. I do mold them with the pumpkin teeth in. A lot of people think that I don't, but I mold them right in there. That's the way to do it. They're tapered in such a way where they come right out.
Los
Can't find latex in Los Angeles? I know that the Reynolds in Los Angeles carries it. Friends Beauty Supply carries it. So you have more options than most when it comes to finding good latex.
He says, yes, I live in Southern Illinois, but I'll be at the show. He says, really? Doesn't the latex stick in the mold?
No. Latex doesn't stick in plaster molds.
Oh, no. Person who, boy,
A lot of threads.
a lot of answers. I just can't seem to find good latex anywhere. It lives in Japan.
Oh, I can't help you. I am sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not near as familiar with Japanese resources. Um, of course, you could have it shipped. It's going to be pretty expensive, but that could be something that you do. I know this will peel right off of the eye because it's latex.
Could you seal the eye with a layer of thin silicone?
I could, yes. These eyes are naturally glossy because they're glass, so I will not do that.
Alan, preach to Ribs. Ribs is the name of one of the people listen to you, about the dangers of silicone caulk used in a mask.
Well, silicone caulking has heavy metals in it. It has a lot of stuff we don't even know what's in it because they don't have to tell us. It's not like a food product where they can tell us, exactly what's in there, or they have to tell us what's in there. Silicone caulking, we know has heavy metals. It probably has arsenic, and those things leach out of that silicone over time. So when if you put that in a mask, that's going to leach in. All of those are absorbed into your skin. There are some things that aren't really absorbed into your skin, so it's not a big deal to get them on your skin. But something like naphtha or silicone caulk, it has that in it, and it'll go right into your skin and attack your liver. And I don't recommend that. I like everyone's liver.
I just ordered a 5-gallon of latex from Monster Makers in Ohio. It was cheaper to have it shipped all the way across the country than to order from San Francisco or LA.
Wow. I also recommend the latex from Bitty Mold Supply. They have mask latex, which is really nice. Now those are white, okay? I got to paint all of them. The other ones looked a little better just because they were gray. Don't be color prejudiced. They'll look good once I paint them. Can't paint them till that cures up. But I can put another coat on the teeth. Okay, teeth are white. Ding. Now, yes, I will do some brown and stuff on the teeth later, but the first thing I want to do is make sure that they pop in low light.
Look, Jonesy. Look, buddy. So plasticine and latex are safer. Platinum is a very heavy metal, but at least we know what else is in the mix. And platinum isn't really absorbed due to heavy molecular weight.
Correct. Okay, these are pretty good. So I don't think I'll be foaming tonight. What I'll do is I'll go live tomorrow and I'll foam a mask tomorrow. Okay, white. That was the last one. Do that layer on the teeth.
Price for 5 gallons of latex in California ranged from $225 to $250. Shipping was about $40. Monster Makers was $150 and shipping was $75. So it worked out to be less, even with higher shipping.
Wow. Okay, I've just put a little bit of Havana Brown ink down, and I'm going to use that Havana Brown ink in the white paint. Just gets me a nice tartar color. Just for the tops of the teeth. Did not like that Havana Brown and white as much as I thought I would. So I'm not going to do that for the next one. You can't make me. Again, this is not a masky mask, so I don't mind doing a little bit of straight acrylics on it because I know it's not going to flex really.
Michael says, ribs, just a note for you. You cannot mix silicone and latex in ribs. Jeremy says, Michael, I know. The whole reason I asked is because I saw a tube of silicone added to latex caulking. Go to Home Depot, haha, and you can see it. We got a full there's plenty of talk here tonight.
Yeah, I think they're adding silicone latex caulk is, there's two different types of silicone. There's tin cure and there's platinum cure. Platinum cure is approved for human skin contact by the FDA. If it's tin cure, it's not approved. In the caulking tube, not approved. Buy it for lots of money from the special effects supply company, that's approved. But they're two different kinds of silicone. Platinum cure silicone will not cure, it will not set in the presence of latex. It's an inhibitor. Tin cure silicone will cure, will kick within the presence of latex. So it's two different type of animals there. And I think that mustard yellow is a much better tartar color. There we go. See, these later stages, you know, how long did that take for me to do that to those teeth? You know, I'm only hitting the teeth. I'm only hitting it so much. Also, I'm not worried about getting this latex paint on the eye. It's going to peel right off like it's like latex on glass. And that's why I really wanted these to be glass and not acrylic. A lot of things will mechanically bond to acrylic or make the acrylic fog. Again, not worried about the eye. Yes, got some on the eye. Don't care. Okay. Clean that brush off. Ding.
Apparently this beanbag is pleasing to him.
See. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little something real quick.
If you added animatronics or puppet-like movement eyes seen in dolls, would the latex crack
Yes. Well,
eventually?
no, because the eye is moving without messing with the latex. I would not set an eye like that for an animatronic. For an animatronic, I would make a hard plastic housing that it can slide in and around, no problem.
What do you best do? When you scare a cat?
No. Okay, so what I haven't done any hair work on these guys. I haven't done a gloss coat on the teeth. I'll do the mouth with 5-minute epoxy, and I'll do a little bit of 5-minute epoxy under the eye bags. The eyes are naturally shiny, so I'm not going to mess too much with that. And I haven't done any hair work. I haven't mounted them to plaques. They're all going to get plaques they're mounted on. These two get a lot of hair work. He'll get a little bit, but not a ton. So that's what we did today. None of these are 100% done, but I'm happy with them. You know, I think they're turning out.
How long are the clamps you use to hold the foam heads?
I have a couple different sizes. They're all from Harbor Freight. This is probably my most useful size. Right here, let me go measure it for you. You might want specifics. Hello, Jones. Mr. Little Jones. These are 18 or 20-inch clamps. That is what size they are. All right, everybody. They're bigger than that. They're bigger than 10-inch. 10 inches are kind of short. 10-inch, but my table height, I want the mast to sit about here when I paint it. So I want that 20-inch. I'm turning off my air compressor. Taking my Warhammer. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. We got 3 prop heads painted. We got the eye set. They're all the way painted. I will have to paint a little bit, touch that up. I will have to hair them and put them on plaques, but then they're done. So maybe another 20 minutes each. You guys are awesome. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. And I'll probably be live tomorrow. Bye. Say goodbye, wife.
Bye.
Go make stuff.